Everyone, welcome to Life in DNA with Amanda Renee. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And let's get started. I told you last week I would talk about all the books that I'm reading currently. I usually have several going at once, just because I love to read and I love to read about different topics. And so I usually have a few. Right now I have several going. Part of that is due to my genealogy research and things I get interested in about my family or my husband's family. And then some of it's just reading for fun. And then I just got through reading A Tale of Two Cities. Partly out of interest from one of the books I'll talk about, and partly so that I could help explain it to my daughter. She's she's in 8th grade, and so I had her read it too. And yeah, so I have another book on my iPad that I read at night so that the light doesn't bother my husband or keep him awake. So yeah, I have a whole stack of books next to me to talk about today. First, for my health stuff about the Hashimoto's, I have The Root Cause by Dr. Wentz, and I just kind of been keeping that out, especially for the doctor's appointments I've had lately, trying to figure out what testing and stuff I need to do. But for now, I'm probably done with that one. But I keep it close at hand in case I need to answer questions that I have that come up. And the other one is the Trim Healthy Mama Plan by Serene and Pearl. And I am rereading this. I've read it once or twice. But like I said, I'm trying to get back on the Trim Healthy Mama plan of eating, and I know my basics, but I was trying to remind myself kind of why I need to do this and specifically how to do it. And I am still I have been so busy that I have not gotten the chance to sit down and do the meal plan, the 2-week meal plan that I want to do, so that I can help myself stay on track. But as soon as I get that done, I will do a video on that, because it really is, it's an easy plan to follow. It's a balanced way of eating. It's one of the things that I've always loved about it. And they really do a lot of research. They actually have a new book coming out that I cannot wait. As soon as they have it ready for pre-order, I am pre-ordering it. But it's called Trim Healthy Wisdom, and it's a lot of their updated information from when they first started the plan, stuff they've learned a lot about hormone, balancing your hormones and things like that. And so I definitely want to get that and start reading it. And when I do, I will talk about it on my channel. But yeah, as soon as I get all of that worked out, I will go into more details about that. The rest of the books that I am reading are more history based. I love history, and I love to read about history and learn about it. In school, I had a really awesome history teacher in junior high and high school. He was also my basketball coach. We loved him, Mr. McKee. He was the best, and he actually was passionate about history as well. So much so, he made an historical club, and of course I was part of that. We would travel around to different historical sites in Oklahoma and go and visit museums and the wildlife refuge and different places around here, and it was so much fun. The other coaches that I had as teachers, and even some teachers in general, I really was blessed with a lot of good teachers, though. For the small school that we had, I really had a lot of good teachers. But he was the only coach that was actually passionate about what he taught and actually taught. Most the other two that I had experience with were just like, here, read this chapter, take this test. It was very boring. I didn't learn anything, I don't think, in those classes. But Mr. McKee was awesome, and he's passed away, unfortunately. But he was awesome. He invented this game that he would draw on the board, and he wanted to make an actual physical version of it someday. I don't know whether he ever did or not. I mean, if he did, I would buy that in a heartbeat. But I don't know if he got to do that before he passed. But it made learning fun. I mean, even the kids that didn't give a crap about learning history loved his class because he made it fun. And to study for tests, we would always play that game. And so even the kids that didn't maybe do great on worksheets or do great on homework assignments, they would do pretty good on their tests because that's how he helped us to study. And maybe I need to incorporate some of that in my homeschooling. I haven't done that, and I need to do that. I need to learn from the good teachers that I had in school. So anyway, I have a passion for history, and I've always read books like about the people I find interesting in history. I've read several on Queen Elizabeth I, Mary Queen of Scots. I will probably go back and read more about her, seeing as how through my research I have discovered that I have a direct tie to her. One of her half brothers was my ancestor, and so that'd be really interesting because he was very close once she came back to Scotland. He was one of the ones really close to her, working with her in the government, and so it would be cool to see the part he played in that part of history. But along that line, I have a book about one of my sides of my family, the Drurys, and I was going back and looking through that because I remember always hearing that the two ancestors that came over from England were two brothers. They were knights, and that fell out of favor with Queen Elizabeth. And I haven't gotten completely finished with it yet, but the last parts that I was reading, her close advisor worked really close with one of my ancestors and trusted him and to go and put him in charge of Scotland for a time, because this is when they were worried about Mary Queen of Scots trying to claim England. Her and Elizabeth were both could have claimed to be Queen of England and Scotland, and so they feuded over that. And if you know history at all, you know how that ended up. Not great for my ancestor, but and then along the same lines, I am reading Robert the Bruce, King of Scots, and I am loving this book. When my son goes to jiu-jitsu, I sit and read this. And so it's taken me a while. But it's great because Robert the Bruce is my direct ancestor on my paternal grandmother's side. She was a Bruce, or is a Bruce. And this book is so fascinating. Like, I've always been fascinated with Robert the Bruce. I've taken this book out from the library before a few times, and I never can get it read in the month that you have to check it out, so I always end up having to take it back. But finally, I just ordered myself a copy. There is an app, I will tell you, it's called Pango Books, Pango. My cousin's wife, Katie, told me about it, and it's awesome. You can sell your books, which I'm not great at getting rid of them. I do want to try to find a few to sell on there because I want some credits. So there's some books I want, but you can buy them pretty cheap. They even have sales. The individuals will have sales sometimes, and I got this book, the book and the shipping for under $10. It was like 9 something, and on Amazon it was going to be like 40. So yeah, definitely if you love to read, check out Pango Books. There's another one that does them. It's Abe. I think it's Abe something. Can't remember. It's been a while since I used that one, but I used to get books for the kids on homeschooling that way. But Robert the Bruce, I always knew and heard, to the Scottish people, he is one of the biggest heroes, one of their most famous and beloved kings. And after reading this book, I can see why. And you can think, oh, well, the guy writing it might be biased or something like that. But he includes a lot of quotes from the actual historical chroniclers of the time. And actually, because this takes place late 1200s through the mid 1300s, because he goes back a little on the Bruce family, but there's actually a lot written back then, and he even quotes some of the people that weren't on Robert the Bruce's side. What I found is that he was so wise and just really smart in how he dealt with people, and that even his enemies kind of had to praise him because there wasn't a lot they could fault him for. Because he was, the part I just read yesterday was how magnanimous he was after to the people that they had captured during the big battle at Bannockburn. And so even his enemies were like, he really was good to them and was fair, and even went above and beyond in some cases. So I thought that was really cool. If you watch a movie about him, I would say the one with Chris Pine, and I'm not a huge fan of Chris Pine, but if you watch that one, it's probably the more true to how he was, at least how history has portrayed him. And but it's so crammed into a little movie that you miss so much. Like reading this book, there was so much. There's another movie that shows, because he did have to, when he first got crowned king, which is a whole story in its own, but when he did that, King Edward I of England was that he wanted Scotland as part of his realm, and so he was attacking, and Robert the Bruce had to go into hiding in different places in Scotland. And there's a movie based on him where it focuses more on that. I don't think it portrays him well, if I remember right. It was like, I don't know, he seemed kind of weak, and he was not not weak at all. There was actually one, when the chapter about the Battle of Bannockburn was just really cool. It was just talking about how brave he was, and it was just really great. Like, I definitely, even if you're not interested in Scottish history and you just like history, this book is really, really good. But if you are interested in Scottish history, you'll love it. Um, I've learned a lot, and I'm not even done. I've got a little bit left. um, the last one I wanted to talk about is actually a series, and I'm almost done with the second book. But I bought the box set off Amazon. So it's about Josephine Bonaparte, by Sandra Gulland. And there's 3 different ones. The first one is The Many Lives and Secret Sorrows of Josephine B. The one I'm on now, Tales of Passion, Tales of Woe. And then the one I'm going to start soon is The Last Great Dance on Earth. And what was cool about that, we went and visited my cousin in Texas and his wife Katie. And I apparently have very similar taste in the books that we like to read and the things that we're interested in. And she told me about this. When we got back home, I ordered it, and oh my gosh, if I could just sit and read, I would have been done with the whole set a long time ago. It's really good and really interesting. And what was fun was they came up for Thanksgiving, and the Napoleon movie came out, and so we went and watched that together because neither one of our husbands would go watch it with us. So we need to live closer, I think, because we would go watch stuff with each other where we don't have anybody down, where either one of us lives that would go with us. But that was a lot of fun. And what was really cool was because of reading as much as I've read in the books, I'm sure I'll recognize more once I get finished with all the books. But even up to the point that I've read, it was fun to see the people come to life, because it talks about all the main people that they were involved with were in the books, because it's based on her life. And the movie really focuses a lot on her. She isn't portrayed in the movie exactly like she is in the books. And Katie did tell me that at the end of the last one, she talks about how she wrote her a certain way, just because based off of documents she had seen and she had read, that was the way that she chose to write her. I think the movie chose to go more with the sensationalized version of her. But they kind of did a good balance. There was a little bit of dialogue in the movie that was odd, but for the most part, the movie was really great. But it was cool getting to see, like, oh, that's the house that they talked about in the book, and oh, that's the person, that was in there. So I kind of understood a little more of what was going on because of where I was in the book series. So that was fun. I always love, I never liked the movie as much as the books, but I always love when I've finished reading something and then can see it on the screen. That's always fun. Even though I know going in, I'm not going to like it as much as I do the books. And then the one, sorry, all of that got me started, sorry, on this big kick of the French Revolution, because she goes into a lot of detail on the French Revolution I didn't realize. I don't remember in school learning much of anything on that. What I do remember came from reading A Tale of Two Cities, a little bit about Napoleon when I read The Count of Monte Cristo. But I didn't realize how horrible it got until I read the books about Josephine. And so I wanted to reread A Tale of Two Cities, and so I did. In high school, I remember that book made me sick. like, it was so focused on the guillotine and all the beheadings. I remember it making me sick, and it's sad now that I was so desensitized, I guess, from watching movies and reading other things now that it didn't really. I kind of wondered, why did it make me so sick in high school? I was very sheltered when I was little, I guess, is why. But it really wasn't that bad. Not like I remember it. But it was just a really scary time. Like, it's crazy to me. So I wanted to learn even more about it. So I found a book in iBooks that I could get for free. But it was more detailed about the actual, just the French Revolution, not following any specific person, but just general about the French Revolution, because now I'm interested in why it happened, why it got as bad as it did. I mean, those people, I mean, I understand, especially from the Tale of Two Cities, how hungry everyone was. It was awful. They didn't have grocery stores or anything like that. They had to grow what they ate. Even in the Robert the Bruce book, it was talking about there was a famine in Ireland, well, in all of Europe, in the early 1300s, that for 2 years everyone starved. And this is when he was king and trying to get Ireland to join him. And like, he had to go back to Scotland because it was so bad in Ireland. Like, traveling back to where he could sail back to Scotland, they were having to eat the horses on the way because they were starving. They were passing villages where the people had resorted to cannibalism. I mean, it was bad. So, reading about all of that, you can see why the people got desperate and wanted to uprise. It's just a little sad that they went so overboard in the just murdering the aristocrats. It was really sad. But anyway, so I'm reading on that too. Since I'm almost finished with several of these, I asked for a few books for Christmas. Another book about thyroid health from that Dr. Heather Stone. I can't remember what it's called right now. But I asked for that one, and then Katie had told me about 2 more that I would probably like, and one of those I will pass on to my daughter. She said it's kid friendly. One of them isn't, but one of them is. By the way, the books about Josephine, not kid friendly. It was France, so I'll let your imagination go where you want it to. It's not awfully descriptive, but it's enough that you probably don't want your children reading it. I don't remember anything in the Robert the Bruce book being bad at all. But the new ones, the other 2 I'm asking for. One, I believe she said is, who did she say it was about? One is about Thomas Jefferson's daughter, America's First Daughter, I believe that's what it's called. And the other one I can't remember who she said it was about. But I put them on my wish list, and so if I get those for Christmas, I will definitely talk about those. And yeah, I have a whole stack of books, not literally in a stack, but I have a whole bunch of books that I've bought that I need to read that I haven't gotten to because I keep finding new books that I want to read. That's sad, but that's me. I want a library someday in my home, and I have enough books to make one. Let's just put it that way. was trying to think. Yeah, so I guess that was it. I will be back next Thursday. I think I'm going to talk about Christmas and the planning of Christmas and the stress that comes with moms at Christmas. Because it's a lot. I had just, while I was filming this, got a text that my new planner is in. I'm so excited. I love planners and planning, and so I will probably show you that and talk about that next week, because Christmas is just about here and I still have a lot to do. It's sad. But so if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And comment, what books are you reading? What have you read anything that's good that is history related, or about a historical figure? I would love suggestions. I love adding to my collection all the time. My husband hates it, but it's what I love. So if you have any suggestions, comment below, or email me. My email is in the show notes, or message me on Instagram. I'm always looking for new things to read, and yeah, or if you've read any of the books that I've talked about, what did you think about them? Let me know, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.